this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the hottest features in Resolve 17.4, Halation, ACES 1.3, automatic color management, custom mixer, and much more. Now, before we get into the tutorial section, let me just say this. You can watch these sort of videos all day long and it's not going to matter unless you start implementing these tools into your workflow. Usually new stuff is cool for the first or 1 or 2 weeks, and then we just go back to our old ways. I'm telling you, the stuff that is packed here in this video, I handpicked the things that are extremely practical and I feel like are a true game changer. So I will say, give me 21 days. Everything that I show you here, try to implement all of these tools once every day for the next 21 days, and eventually it will be a muscle memory and you will be using these in your color grading pipeline without any hesitation. And we recently did a survey. Majority of you, regardless of the skill set, are struggling with shot matching, skin tones, balancing, and working with 8-bit footage. So I created a 1-hour-long free training that covers all of that. Plus, we'll wrap up the training with an extensive Q&A, and you'll also get a link to download the practice footage, power grades, and some of my personal LUTs. But do not forget to check out the training. Link is down below. And let's take this moment to pause the video for 1 second, smash the like button, and anybody who hasn't been subscribed to the channel, there's about 57% of the people watching this content that are not subscribed. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we drop brand new content. Follow me on Instagram for tons of short form tips and tricks, and let's roll the intro. All right, guys, time to get this party started. I am always extremely excited when a new update comes out and when we get features like this, because it makes me feel like a kid in a playground, right? Like I can just do anything that I want. I don't know anything about certain tools that they just added, so I can just have fun with it, learn as I go, and then after I got a good grasp on what it is, I can come back around and share the wealth with you all. So we're gonna start off with our automatic color management. So I brought in a bunch of different clips, right? We got some R3D files, we got some RE raw, and then we got some ProRes in there, B raw, all that good stuff. So it's a jambalaya of like a bunch of different clips. But as I go through them, and you can see it right here in my canvas, that all of these are in log as of now. So first thing that I want to do, you see like how there's pillar boxing here, and then there's awkward like letter boxing here. And that's just because of a specific aspect ratio that all these clips are using. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all of them. Under my retime and scaling, I'm just going to go ahead and just click on fill. So we are set there for now. And in order to set up auto color management, so under color science, if you leave everything to unmanaged, it's going to be like this, DaVinci YRGB. But if you want to use Resolve's color management, then you're going to select color managed. And in here, now they have this right here that you can check on. And they already had made huge improvements by giving us this in Resolve 17, which took out a lot of the confusion to just like really get in there, click on SDR Rec 709, and you knew that you were in good hands. You can just ready to grade and not worry about small things that could go wrong down the road. With Resolve 17.4, they made it even easier. So you can check this automatic color management and it just simplifies the F out of it, because now it's just as simple as like, hey, are you going to be grading in SDR or HDR? What do you want to do? If you want to just do HDR, you're ready to go. You can select your HDR preferences here. So like if I'm doing a proper monitoring, I will select HDR PQ and just go from there. Or if I'm working in SDR Rec 709, then I select SDR Rec 709. I'm ready to go. All I have to do is just hit save, and automatically these clips should convert to Rec 709. And we will see that, boom, done. Proper Rec 709 conversion through Resolve Color Management. But as I scroll through, you'll see this clip, nothing changed. Why? Because this is not a raw clip. This is a ProRes clip, meaning we need to tell Resolve what camera this clip is from. Now, if I go here, This is our RE raw. So this is converted properly to Rec 709, and we can see that in our scopes. And then if I keep going, this is B raw. This is also converted beautifully. We can see that here. It looks great. And now if I go here, this was shot on RE Alexa, but once again, this clip is in ProRes 444, so we need to tell it that, hey, this clip, if I do a right click and go under input color space, I need to tell it that, hey, this is from RE log C. As soon as I do that, great, Rec 709 conversion, we're ready to go. We need to do the same thing here. This was shot on red, so I'm gonna have to go in here and I'm gonna say, hey, red white gamut with log 3 G10. As soon as I do that, boom, we got a perfect conversion. So by doing that, we know that all the math is correct on the back end. We don't have to worry about anything else. We can just get going, okay? So that is the first feature that I wanted to bring up, that it is really cool that Resolve keeps simplifying it. Now, if you do want more control, you can always go back to how things were before. You can even get more control by clicking on this and separate your color space to your gamma, or you can go in here and just like really go old school when you click on custom and select every single feature here as you would before Resolve 17. Okay, so now I can just go here and set that back to DaVinci White Gamut for my timeline color space and DaVinci YRGB and come back out. And as soon as I do that, now we have to, again, tell it through color space transform what we're trying to do. Moving on to one of my best and favorite features of Resolve 17.4, I'm talking about ACES 1.3. Now, ACES 1.3 has been out for a while, okay? So if you go here and look at this article, this came out on April 30th. So ACES 1.3 has been out, but Resolve took their time to do a proper implementation of it. And now finally, we get to have ACES 1.3 inside Resolve, and the biggest rock star of new ACES feature 13 inside when it comes to features is this guy right here. Okay, so they gave us some extra features that we can turn on to get rid of that weird fringing that would happen around our neon or saturated colors. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's go back into our project settings. This time under my color science, I'm going to select ACES CCT. And by default, this might not be selected, okay, for you. This might be set to 1.1 or whatever. So go ahead, select 1.3. But before I even do that, let me show you, even with ACES 1.2, this is how it looked like before, right? So we can go here, just for example's sake, I'm gonna use color space aware grading tools. This is important for HDR palette and our color warper. So as soon as I do that and hit save, look what happens. Okay, so I do this and I go here. And if I punch in and show you this, like what's happening right here, this is not how it's supposed to be, okay? And you see like what's happening on the edges of these magentas and blues. They're just completely blown out. And let me give you an example of like what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go here and grab that still. And now what I'm going to go and do is go back in here, change that to, let's say, color managed, and come back out. And if we punch in now and look at how everything looks and all the colors are protected, that's not what was happening with this. So if I bring back my ACES transform with 1.2, you see what's happening with these colors? That was a massive, massive, massive problem with ACES in the past, okay? Especially when you're working with, like I said, challenging situations like this. And that defeated the purpose for many people to even use ACES CCT because they just don't want to deal with this. Like where you have to micromanage, go in and make those changes manually, shot by shot. And you have to be aware of that. Well, here's the thing now. If I go back in here, go back to ACES CCT, if I click right here, just look at the menu in this area, okay? If I click right here and go to ACES 1.3, boom, we get this option, ACES reference gamut compress, okay? So apply ACES reference gamut compress. And as soon as I do that, look what happens. So I'm going to click right here to check that. I'm also going to check use color space aware grading tools. And as soon as I hit save, boom, Look at this now. It is perfect. Look at that, our scopes. And now I'm going to go back and bring back our ACES 1.2 transform. Look at the vector scope and how these colors are just blown out and they're gone compared to ACES 1.3. It is absolute perfection. And honestly, this opens up the door for everybody to use ACES, because let me just grab this still, okay, and show you one more thing. So if I go back in here, go to Resolve Color Management, SDR, and go here and look at the two images. Let's make them bigger. Let's hide this. And now if I bring in my ACES, so this is our ACES 1.3, and this is our Resolve Color Management. And if you look at the initial look that we get, I'm talking about our base, our starting off point. I just personally feel like ACES 1.3 is so much more cinematic. So I'm gonna bring this back on, our DaVinci Wide Gamut, compared to our ACES 1.3. And just look at everything, right? Like all these colors and how everything pops. Like the contrast, I feel like, is just done so well that it is an amazing starting off point. And now from here, it just makes our job so much easier to drive it home and create a look that we want. All right, so now let's check out one of the most talked about tools that Resolve added in their 17.4. I'm talking about halation, okay? Before we jump in there, let's just go back there and work with unmanaged. So I'm just gonna go and choose DaVinci Wide Gamut and use color space gamma. That could stay the same. And as soon as I come back out here, so now we have to use color space transform to do a proper conversion, which is no problem. So I'm just gonna type in color space transform, and you guys know I put this downstream. And if you wanna learn more about that, you can watch the free training to why this is how I do it. So I'm gonna click right here. I'm gonna select red, white gamut under my color space, and I'm gonna select log 3G10. And as soon as I do that, now I have to select Rec 709 here and Gamma 2.4 here to do a proper conversion. And as soon as we do that, everything is looking how it looked in DaVinci Wide Gamut. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift S to create a node prior. And I'm going to create a couple of more nodes. So let's just do 3 more nodes. And what I want to show you here is for halation, I'm going to give you 2 different examples, okay? One, how normally people would use halation, which would be after their Rec 709 settings, they will create a node, new node, and then they'll just type in halation. And now if we drop that on, this is how most people will use it, okay? And if I drop that on, the effect is pretty heavy, right? It just kind of comes in really hard. And if I do before and after, it's sort of unrealistic. So here, what I need to do is I'm going to open my effects and I'm going to go under threshold and start controlling it, right? So like, let's just take it easy because it was just way, way, way too much. I can also hit view isolated so I can really see what I'm controlling. Here's the problem. When this halation comes after your Rec 709 conversion, look, my threshold is all the way to as far as we can go. And it is pretty much selecting everything. It's not really giving me an opportunity to get granular with that. What do I mean by that? Now we have to control our halation based on what we're stuck with, because we don't have more control over how much fine-tuning we can do at this level, okay? And here, I can just go and control the strength now. I have to pull it back because I'm like, okay, this is way too much. So it kind of water downs the effect of this halation compared to where I would like it. And you know what? Let's just exaggerate it a little bit to kind of show the difference what we're doing. So I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. So even on YouTube, it can be noticeable. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that still. So this is one way of like how people would use it downstream, their halation effect. I am going to flip the script and hit E to detach that, and then use my halation in the beginning. So upstream. Why am I doing that? Because most of the time, halation is embedded in your negative, film negative. When it comes in to to the finishing room, that halation is already part of it. It is not something that was added after the fact. And that is the reason why I would use my halation upstream. And look at, already the results are so much more convincing. And check this out. If I go under view isolated now, you see the difference? Before, we were pretty much stuck somewhere around here and we couldn't go any further. Whereas here, this is the control that I need for my halation, okay? Because now I can just really, really go granular to something like this. And now if I come out, just look at that. And the effect is just so much more believable right now. And now I can go under my strength and go, all right, let's take it easy. Let's pull it back. And if I punch in here, and if I do before and after, this is very nice. A little exaggerated, but it's okay. I like it. And if I go right here, before and after, man, it just, I am so happy that Resolve added that. This is unbelievable. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, look at this basic grain. Now you can click right here, append grain internally, and you can add grain. Once again, guys, why are we doing all of this here is because when you shoot something on film, all of these things are already embedded when the footage comes into the grading room, okay? So just remember that. And I am loving the way this grain works too. It is kind of limiting compared to what the grain OFX has to offer, but I feel like it does the job, okay? And it does a really, really nice job. So here, obviously, the strength is way too much, so I'm gonna pull it back. I will exaggerate it a little bit. And once again, it's really hard to see the grain effect on YouTube. So one, make sure you guys are watching this video in 4K. So make sure that it's set to 4K. And by me exaggerating the grain this much, hopefully it will really come through. So guys, look at this. I mean, I am so happy that Resolve added this effect. I mean, just look at what we just did, how good it looks and how much control we have over this. And also, did you guys see the difference between this versus that? This, I just pulled up my reference image from the gallery, and this is what we were using before, where the effect was used downstream compared to halation effect used upstream, which is how it's supposed to be. So see like how cheesy and lame it looks when it's used downstream? I mean, look at all of this compared to using it upstream, how we're using it now. I mean, just look at this effect. Like, look at this is how to incorrectly use it, which would be to put it after your CST and all your conversions. And this is when you use it before everything, as if it was embedded in your footage when it came in to Resolve. So guys, that's why I always tell you, the sequence where everything goes in DaVinci Resolve is essential for you to know what goes where. And I go in depth in my free training explaining all of that. And then if you want to take that to the next level, then get the masterclass, because I explain so much more about these things, okay? Because it just literally will make it or break it your grade. This is the difference between somebody's grade looking really cheap to somebody's stuff looking high end. This is where we're gonna leave our halation for now. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the power of another tool that is extremely effective, and I'm talking about Custom Mixer, okay? So let's just jump right in. So first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go under my primaries, my offset, and let's just take some of the red out. I feel like the overall image is just kind of, the white balance needs some work. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that down to something like this. And I like what this is doing to my image. It has a very cinematic look, and I think I can leave it here, and it just feels a bit more balanced too. And we can see it here, like how much it's living in the warm quadrant compared to like pulling it back and just kind of evening everything out. So I like what it's doing here. And now in this node, so let's just call these nodes what they are, right? So like this is halation and grain, and then this is our glow. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go under my glow, and I'm gonna drop that on. And after I drop on my glow, I'm gonna go and select soft light. And as soon as I do that, I'm gonna have to go in here and pull my shine threshold to like really control what I'm doing. So I'm gonna keep it somewhere around here, okay? And now a couple of things that I want to do is I want to go back in here in this node and go under my primaries, take my contrast and kind of crank it, right? So like not too much, but even something like that. And now when I do this and I drop my glow, I feel like I'm going to take the shine threshold and open it up a little bit. So I just feel like now I need to add more, I need to balance it out a bit more. It's still really blue. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to keep pushing it. My offset. So this looks really cool. I feel like it's just it's a really nice grade that we created. All right, this is where things are going to get very interesting. So now I'm going to come in here, type in custom and drop on custom mixer. And as soon as you do that, this is what happens. You're like, whoa, what just happened here? So what you need to do is right click here and add OFX input. As soon as we do that, now I'm going to take my primaries input and or output and put that into my custom mixer. So basically what's happening now is that we're taking these two nodes and we're either blending them or combining them. So like right now, I am blending them, meaning if I go all the way to the left, nothing is happening. Like nothing is happening. This is where everything was before this node. But now, as soon as I grab this and start moving it over, now I am basically bypassing glow and only using primaries, okay? So that is the blend. And if I put it in the middle, I'm using 50% opacity of these two nodes, okay? So that's the way you wanna look at it. But again, the thing is, what I told you earlier, this tool is so brand new and I'm still messing with it that it's just a lot of fun to experiment and figure out what is really happening. Under advanced options, we can click right here and select a bunch of different options. So here I can go and select overlay if I'm going for like a bleach bypass effect or something like that. And obviously it is very, very push. So now what I would do is I would just grab that and keep pulling it back until I go, you know what? This is a very strong effect, but I like it. I like where her skin is sitting and it's just very moody. And this could be very appropriate for the season we're going through, Halloween. So it's a horror film and this might be a ghost in the back. It's not a real person. And this look is kind of cool. So we can print it. But let's just reset that and start playing with it even more. The thing that I'm really liking about this effect is blend is really cool and there's many things that you can do, but it's the combine that I really, really like because it just gives us so many more options. So I'm going to pop all of these open and let's just start going through them and start having fun with it, okay? So now our input one would be this, or I'm sorry, would be this, and our input two would be that, okay? So if I take this and start moving it around, see, like we're really accentuating the glow now. And then if I come in here and start pulling this down, we're basically taking our primaries node and affecting that, okay? But if I go under my offset, I am looking at this as like how subtractive colors work, okay? So let me explain what I'm talking about. So if I go in here and I ungang this, and now I say, you know what I want to do is I want to just add more cyan, like more of a, filmic look, but I really want to push it. And now I pushed it too far. So I'm going to go, let's just add more blue and then let's add more magenta to kind of even it out. And look what I'm doing. As soon as I'm adding these colors, it's just bringing so much more color density to my image. And if I do before and after, just check out the kind of look we're creating, like how interesting this is. And now at this point, I can still go under advanced options and click right here and select something like soft light or select something like overlay. Like I can still use these options to create fun looks, right? And now I can come in here and go, you know what? I want to keep my input 2 here, but then I want to take my glow and I want to keep pushing it to something like that. And now we can come back here and we can go, let's just keep pulling these back to once again, just add more color density to our image. So if I do this and you guys can look at it like what kind of interesting effect we've created. I just personally feel like it is so powerful what we can do here. And if we want to just bring up a little bit more detail in the midtones, we can do that here. And once again, if we just want to control our glow, we can do it here. And then that would be our combine. And we can always go to normal, and it's just like a little punchier. And guys, look at this. Look at how we were able to create such a cool look without using custom curves or any of that. Just basically taking two of our nodes and combining them, or we can also, again, blend them. So this is a brand new tool. I'm going to be playing around with it a lot more to have even a better understanding. And as I do, I'm going to be sharing those tips with you as we move forward. But this is something really cool. I feel like we created a really interesting look, and I can take my red and maybe park it somewhere around here and take, add maybe just a tiny bit more magenta. And that just looks really balanced and very, very clean look. And now let's move on to another very cool aspect of 17.4, which is node info. Okay, so the reason why node info is really cool is that now I'm going to give you an example. So let's just go here and just for the sake of it. All right, so like let's just say I go here and I'm using this LUT on here, which obviously does not work. So we will never do that. But I want to show you something really cool. If you hover over and just leave your cursor on your node, it will tell you exactly which LUT this is. Before, it would just tell you that you're using a LUT, but it wouldn't necessarily tell you which flavor of that LUT. So now you can just hover over. Before, you have to right click and do reveal selected LUT to know which LUT you were using. Now you can just hover over and do that. So that I feel like is very, very cool. And as a new addition, that is a huge time saver. And now what I want to show you is automatic node input. So what that does is this. So let's say I create another node here, and then we do a parallel node, and we'll pull this down. Now, if eventually I decide to add another node, and if I just link that to my node 4, and now I want to put that in here, before I have to right click and manually add additional input here, in my parallel, now I can just grab this and get close to it, and it does an automatic input for me. Okay, so I can just go in here and release, and it will create an automatic node input. So that is another time saver in Resolve 17.4. All right, moving on to our last tool and staying on the topic of time saving. This is unbelievable, and I'm so glad they did that. A lot of your compositing tools have this as a standard feature, but Resolve never had that, and finally they do. So if I were to track her face, I can go in here now. Before we had forward tracking, so let's just say we're right here, okay? And we want to track the face now. But before we had to do forward track, then come back here and do a reverse track. Now we can just hit this new button right here in the middle that says track forward and reverse. And look how smart this is. So I can just hit that, and it's going to go ahead, track forward, and boom, it's going to skip back, and now it's going to start tracking backwards. Huge, huge, huge time saver. And let me create a new node and show you another feature. This also works under Magic Mask. Okay, so I can come in here under face and hover over to select her face right there. And as soon as I do that, we can see the face is selected. I can do the same exact thing. This button that we saw under tracking. And as soon as I click it, it's going to go forward and it's going to go backwards. But obviously it defeats the purpose because where I selected it wasn't in the middle. So let's just go here and select it. So now we have selected, we're right in the middle. So if I click this, it's going to track everything forward, and then it's going to jump back and it's going to track everything backwards. With one click, we don't have to sit here and do it manually. So now let's just kill everything and then rebuild it to where we started to where we ended up. So obviously we're using our CST to convert it to Rec 709. And then we went in and did some primaries, basic stuff, nothing crazy. And went and added some glow. And then by using the custom mixer, we were able to create a very, very interesting look. And guys, look at this. This is powerful, like how every color belongs, and it's just not cracking your image or doing anything, but just accentuating so much to create that film look. And then finally, we use the new Halation and Grain plugin built into Resolve. And just look at this, how impressive the results are. So first, when you drop that on, it is super heavy-handed, but after messing around with it and finding the right balance, oh my God. I mean, we truly created a film look by using only Resolve plugins without the use of any LUTs. And that right there is powerful. And on that note, let's check out the final look in full screen. So initially I wanted to make this like a 10-minute video, but I know there were certain topics that I really had to kind of get in and make sense of it. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. And if there's any specific tool that you saw here that you would like us to do a deep dive on, drop a comment below. Make sure to check out the link to the training in the description below. And guys, if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness. And remember, learn and apply. I will see you guys in the next video.